We are live.
Good morning. This is the House Judiciary Committee. We're here for a bill hearing on one bill, Senate Bill 389. It is a little late in session. So Senator Jackson is not available. We're going to ask the people who are here to testify in favor of the bill, Sheriff Popkin, Clyde Boatwright, and Tom Williams, to come on into the room. We're going to hear from them for 2 minutes each. But in advance of that, I'm going to ask counsel for the committee, Claire Rossmark, to just review what the bill, as it passed the Senate, what this bill does. Okay, so Claire, if you'd go ahead and present, that would be great.
Okay. This bill requires the Maryland State Commission on Criminal Sentencing Policy, with the cooperation of each state's attorney, to collect and disclose specified information related to each case prosecuted in the circuit courts. The commission must begin publishing the data online by May 1st, 2025, and annually thereafter. And among other provisions, the bill also establishes the task force to study criminal justice data transparency, to be staffed by the Maryland State Commission on Criminal Sentencing Policy, and requires the Division of Parole and Probation within the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services to annually report, beginning by December 1st, 2022, specified information relating to offenders who are under the supervision of the division. The task force terminates June 30th, 2024.
Okay. If people have questions for Claire, that's going to be fine, but I'm going to ask that we hear from the people here to testify, including Sheriff Popkin, who's here. So we'll start with Sheriff. Well, I see Mr. Boatwright here first, so let's go to Mr. Boatwright. We'll go to Mr. Boatwright first, and then we'll go to the other two. So Clyde Boatwright, please, for 2 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Is this in reference to House Bill 389? I mean, I couldn't hear.
Senate Bill 389, yes.
Senate Bill.
Yes.
Yes, all right, thank you. So this bill we support from the Maryland State Fraternal Order of Police. I apologize, members of the committee. I'm Clyde Boatwright, president of Maryland State Fraternal Order of Police, where we serve over approximately 21,000 active members statewide. This bill is a needed fix to help with establishing the rules as it relates to police discipline as a result of House Bill 670 from last year. This clarifies how the process would go for both internal and external complaints. We feel as though it's a needed fix. It creates a fair and just process for both complaints, and it clears up any ambiguity that one may have as it relates to how the bill is currently written from last year on House Bill 670. It removes all of the doubt. It's straight and to the point, and it's a very, very much needed fix to make a good bill better. And with that, we urge a favorable report, and I'm available to stand for any questions.
All right, Sheriff Popkin, if you'd like to go ahead for 2. Yeah, the sheriff.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm a little confused. Did we hear, I feel like the explanation of the bill we just heard was of a different bill than the one we're now.
It was. I'm sorry. I was explaining the wrong bill.
Okay. That may be why people are confused. We're having a great morning.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was just told 2 minutes in advance that I give a summary, but would you like me to go ahead and give the proper?
Let's do that one. The Senate Bill 389, please.
Okay, so Senate Bill 389 modifies requirements to the disciplinary process for police officers established by Chapter 59 of 2021, which was the Maryland Police Accountability Act of 2021. Among other things, the bill requires all complaints of police misconduct involving a member of the public to be forwarded to the appropriate administrative charging committee, regardless of whether the complaint originated from within the law enforcement agency or from an external source. requires each law enforcement agency to adopt the uniform state disciplinary matrix for all matters that may result in discipline of a police officer, modifies the composition of a trial board for a statewide or bi-county law enforcement agency, except for the Baltimore City Police Department, modifies the duties and requirements for specified members of a trial board, modifies the appeal process after a decision of a trial board, prohibits the use of collective bargaining to establish or alter any aspect of the disciplinary process for police officers, and delays the implementation of specified provisions of Chapter 59 from July 1st, 2022 to October 1st, 2022.
All right. We heard Clyde Boatwright's testimony regarding that. Now that we've got the right description of the right bill, let's go to Sheriff Popkin, please, for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm glad Claire clarified that because I wasn't sure why I was here at the moment then, but thank you. Okay, well, Chairman Clippinger, Vice Chair Moon, members of the committee, for the record, my name is Darren Popkin. I am the Sheriff of Montgomery County, and I am also the chair of the legislative committee for the Maryland Chiefs and the Maryland Sheriffs statewide. We have been, the chiefs and sheriffs have been working over the last 18 months, all the way dating back to Delegate Atterbury's summertime police reform work group. We have been working closely with the legislative body on implementing all of the police reform bills. One of the bills, House Bill 670, had several areas of ambiguity that needed some technical corrections or technical amendments to really understand what the law really was kind of going towards. As a result of working with the leadership of both the House and the Senate, the amendments in Senate Bill 389 will help clarify really all of those gray areas, or many of those gray areas that we were just unsure about. One of the most important pieces of this is that it will assist with the continuing training of the 17,000 law enforcement officers here in Maryland that we've been doing an awful lot of training on to begin with, but those areas have been kind of on hold with that subject matter. I do want to, without getting into great detail, I do want to just touch on one of the specific amendments, and that has to do with the implementation date. The implementation date would go from July 1 to October 1. And I just want to express the critical importance associated with this. I was on the Standards Commission last year when the bill passed, and we had an opportunity to start working on implementing all of the incredible 80 pages worth of changes that needed to occur. The work that the Standards Commission has continued, even though I'm not on the commission this year, has been an incredible amount of work. There is amazingly dedicated staff up there that has continued the work. But because of the COMAR requirements to implement these new pieces of law, the July 1 date is just not viable. But if the October 1 date is accepted by, I know it's accepted by the Senate, if the October 1 date is accepted by you all, it not only will help the Standards Commission meet its obligation to implement this law, but all of the counties in Baltimore City are on hold with their police accountability boards and their administrative charging committees, which will provide the clarification and guidance to make this work statewide. So for these reasons, and I urge a favorable report from this committee, and I will certainly be here for any questions that come up as a result.
All right, let's hear from Tom Williams from the State Police, please, for 2 minutes.
Mr. Chairman.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. My name is Tom Williams. I represent the Maryland Department of State Police. We're testifying in support of Senate Bill 389. I'm not going to repeat what Mr. Boatwright and Sheriff Popkin said. They've obviously covered a lot of areas. The number one area of this legislation that the Maryland State Police is key on is the trial board process that's being established for state law enforcement and by county. As Sheriff Popkins said, we've been working for the last couple of months trying to determine what to do. And this piece is very key as terms to the revision that Claire specified. It creates a trial board process for state law enforcement, which didn't necessarily exist in the last year's legislation. So if you could, the date of October is good with us, if that's what you want to go with, but our main focus here is the trial board process. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm available for any questions, but MSP urges a favorable report.
All right, Senator Jackson has been able to join us. Do you, Senator Jackson, do you want to say anything about Senate Bill 389? You're muted. You're still muted. You're very much muted. Senator Jackson. Now you're not. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Look, Mr. Chairman, members of the Judiciary Committee, we are obviously in favor of Senate Bill 389. We heard the community, law enforcement community with their concerns about the revisions and clarifications of this process, and we are requesting a favorable report.
Now we'll go to questions. Delegate McComas.
This, you know, I think the fact that all the law enforcement has come in here and testified is very compelling. But I wondered why 9 Republican senators voted against the bill. I don't understand their rationale. And I mean, I realize nobody can get into their heads, but you might have some idea why they had a problem with the bill. I'm just kind of curious. Because it seems like a good bill. You're cleaning things up and making things clear. Can anybody address that?
I'm not sure that any of the witnesses can address why other people did something, but I don't know, and I'm not sure that they would know, and I don't see any of them stepping forward to explain the actions of those 9 senators. Sorry. Delegate Crutchfield.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And thank you so much, Sheriff Popkin, for being here. And I do have a question because it sounds like you were intimately involved with the boards on this. So can you just kind of walk me through the trial board process that is imagined with this bill?
So Delegate Crutchfield, it is always good to see you, whether virtual or in person. So thank you very much for the question. So understanding the amendment in this, what you are looking at is under the prior disciplinary process, which is the Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights, which is, will be repealed as of July 1st or June 30th. There was a jury trial, a administrative hearing process that the law enforcement agencies would set up if a law enforcement officer did not accept the punishment from a chief or the sheriff. And that was usually up to the chief or sheriff unless there was an alternative hearing board that had been collectively bargained in the past. So now with that, the LEOBR being repealed, the public process that is now in place, if there's any sort of public complaint and the law enforcement officer does not accept the punishment offered through the disciplinary matrix, then there will be the public complaint will have an administrative law judge as the chair, a member of a civilian member of the hearing board that is appointed by the Police Accountability Board, as well as a person of equal rank that is appointed by the chief or the sheriff. But unfortunately, when the bill was drafted last year, there was no process for an internal complaint. So if an officer did not want to accept the punishment offered by the chief or the sheriff, then there was no process. And under due process provisions in employment law, there had to be some sort of opportunity for appeal to this. So what this does now, the amendment, it sets down in statutory law the ability for a law enforcement officer, if he does not accept a punishment, to have an administrative hearing board that is consistent and matches the public complaint process as well as the internal complaint process. And what we needed was something in statute that allowed for that, and it makes it consistent now across all areas of disciplinary process, whether public or internal.
Thank you.
Delegate Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Sheriff Popkin, hello, everyone. I just wanted to make one clarification on something that you just said. When you speak of internal, isn't that also the process in which if one police officer wanted to make a complaint, isn't that also part of the internal process that a police officer could make a complaint against another police officer? Isn't that one of the things that SB 389 is fixing as well?
Absolutely. So under the First Amendment in the bill that's under 3-104, that would also include that. And if it's a member of if it involves a member of the public, then that would also go to the public complaint process to the Administrative Charging Committee. If it's not involving a member of the public, then it would be internal. But yes, that you are exactly correct on that. And that's what these amendments do address.
Okay, thank you.
Are there further questions for the panel? All right, seeing none, that concludes the testimony for Senate Bill 389. We appreciate you all coming in this morning and talking to us. That's going to conclude the bill hearing for this morning. The floor session starting at 10. We probably will be coming back in between sessions, maybe coming back after the second session. Thank you all very much. This has been the House Judiciary Committee.